Hi, this is Jason Lisk with PoolGenius, and I want to talk to you today about something that's near and dear to my heart, survivor pools, but how to keep playing survivor pools if you've taken a bad beat, if you've been knocked out. There are options to keep playing in survivor pools throughout the NFL season. Second chance and late start pools, both the same thing, the same terminology applies to both, are pools that start up after week 1. You can play in them. They may start in week 2, 3, 4, or whenever a pool gets knocked to a certain percentage, maybe a site will open up more. So be on the lookout for chances to play survivor in pools that start after week 1, because more and more these days, these pools are popping up and are available for you to find. Where are some of the places we see them? DraftKings has both survivor pools that start before the season, but also tends to have weekly offerings of new pools that open up each week. I don't know how long they plan to do that through the season, but they do certainly have them early in the year, so you want to check there. Splash has a lot of second chance or late start pools that start up each week. Same story there. There are also plenty of other online sports books. Bet Online is one example that have second chance or late start pools that start up. So if you are interested, there are options out there for you to explore if you want to play in more survivor pools. Now, I'll tell you, these pools have grown significantly in interest and availability over the years. In fact, we have data at PoolGenius on how frequently people getting our recommendations for picks are involved in certain pool types. And among those categories are pools that start after week 1, what we call a late start pool. Now, we've seen these numbers grow and continue to trend upwards over the last 5 years. As recently as 2020 and 2021, we saw 17% in 2020, 7% of our picks that were generated after week 5 and starting in week 6 were second chance or late start pools. 2021 had a much higher survival rate, probably why the numbers dipped a bit. And then in 2022, they went back up to 18% of our week 6 recommendations. However, in 2023, we saw growth. Over a third of all picks generated entering week 6 of 2023 were in second chance or late start pools. And by 2024, that number was over 50%. So over half. In a year, certainly, where there were big wipeouts early in 2024, we saw that a lot of our subscribers continued to play in second chance pools and derive value from our advice. One of the things, if you are a PoolGenius subscriber and you have bought the subscription for Survivor Picks, we don't charge you more to play in more pools. Once you bought it, it's a tool you can use however you want, and you can use it for up to 30 picks a week. So if you've been knocked out of some pools and you have it in your budget and you want that sweat to go late into the year, you can join other pools and still get our pick advice for those late start pools. So that's something to consider. Be responsible in your gaming. But if you, like me, would rather have your long shots in some survivor pools that you can win, if things go your way, where you can, maybe take down a pot that was 1,000 times what you put into it. And if you'd rather do that than play, say, 20 game parlays, 10 game or 10 player parlays that also require a ridiculous amount of luck to hit, if you'd rather play survivor pools and get that sweat, using our tool as a subscriber is a way to continue to get value at no additional cost to you. So that's one thing to keep in mind. Now I want to go into strategies for late start and second chance pools if you are playing in them. First strategy, make sure you read the rules, because there are fewer weeks left in the season, some of these pools adopt different rules. And so you want to make sure you understand what those rules are. Do they start requiring you to make 2 picks in a week sooner so that it knocks out people quicker, so that you're not going to have 1,000 people splitting at the end? Because if you start it late enough and you only have single picks, there's a better chance of a pot split, a big pot split. So some of these pools put different rules in place. like multi-picks. So you'll want to read what you have to do, how many picks you have to make to get to the end. So that's number one. Secondly, keep in mind, because it is starting late, the pick popularity numbers will differ from national averages. For example, if Denver is really popular in week 1, in a late start pool, they weren't popular because there were no picks. So they're far more available for upcoming weeks when you are playing in a pool that started after week 1. So that will impact, in exchange, where the values are. At PoolGenius, we try to account for this by making adjustments on the back end with our logic to make recommendations on who to pick. As one example of this, we were less likely to be recommending Arizona because they were more available to people in week 5, and you had fewer picks to get to the end. So thus you needed a little less to focus on that future value savings because teams like Buffalo and Detroit and Denver had not been used if you just started up a pool. So that's another key strategy to remember. And then third, because there are fewer picks generally required unless you're in multi-picks, you're going to want to play the EV game more. You're going to want to think about how to leverage against the field, how to, come up with picks that are going to go against that increased popularity because more teams are more available. And you're going to want to try to think contrarian on how you're going to attack that. So those are 3 things to use in your late start and second chance pools. You should consider playing in them if you enjoy survivor pools. I know I will be in several. I already have entries that I started in weeks 2, 3, 4, and 5. Like to sprinkle throughout the year so that I get a different texture to my survivor pools as the season goes on. And it's something, if you are a serious survivor player and you are a subscriber to PoolGenius, you can get great value out of continuing to play survivor pools responsibly. Good luck.